Morning, Rock Hill. Pastor Kyle with your Monday morning sermon recap. We looked at Mark chapter 2, verses 1 to 12, the story of the paralytic and his four friends who brought him to Jesus, lowered him through the roof, and Jesus healed him. And so it's a beautiful story of friendship and the power of friends and bringing their friend to Jesus to encounter him, and willing to walk through and barge through many obstacles, including a crowded house and a roof. But really, it's an interesting story that actually heightens Jesus' authority to forgive sins. In Mark's gospel, Jesus has been healing people. He's been restoring health. And so that's already been seen. In a lot of ways, that's not a big thing. So here you have this paralytic being lowered down through the roof, and Jesus looks at him and says, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Probably not what he was going for. In fact, it draws the ire of the religious leaders around Jesus of who can forgive sins but God alone. God is the most offended party. The authority and the ability to forgive sins is one that rests with the divine, with our Creator, because He's the most offended party in all of our sin. And so here Jesus is claiming to have the authority to forgive sins. And so Jesus says, so that you know that I have authority to forgive sins, rise, take up your mat, and walk and go home. And he asks us, which is easier to do? To say, son, your sins are forgiven, or to say, rise, pick up your mat, and walk? And to us, in many ways, it'd be easier to say your sins are forgiven, because there'd be no way to confirm that. We wouldn't know until the end of days whether or not someone actually had authority to do that. But to say, rise, pick up your mat, and walk, there would be an instant sense of like, this guy either has the authority to do that, or he doesn't. The paralyzed person is either walking or not. But if you think about it from Jesus' standpoint, He's God. He's God in the flesh. It's not stressful at all. It doesn't cost him anything to say, son, walk, rise, pick up your mat and walk. I mean, he created this world with the word of his power. Like, he has God's divine energy to heal this man and heal it instantly. But what did it cost Jesus to say to him, son, your sins are forgiven? In many ways, the shadow of the cross hangs over Mark chapter 2. What did it cost the Son of Man to forgive sins? What this did is this put Jesus firmly on a path that's saying, son, I'm willing to substitute myself for you to uphold the justice of God while also releasing his mercy. I'm willing to take your punishment and your place so that I can declare to you right now with full authority, your sins are forgiven. It shocks us. It blows us away. What did it cost Jesus to say, son, your sins are forgiven? It cost him everything. It shows us the costliness of grace, the scandal of grace, and yet the free gift that we receive. The final thing that we are provoked with is that many in the crowd saw all of these things. They were amazed. They glorified God, but they didn't actually follow Jesus as a result of that. And so my charge is, 1, to know the costliness of your forgiveness. 2, to be the kind of friends that bring your friends to Jesus. And 3, to not remain in the crowd, but to actually become followers or disciples of Jesus Christ. It changes everything, and it's wonderful.